Hello lovely friends, here is a sneak peek of today's Stormy tree art. I had so much fun using my glue gun and different textures here today. Thank you so much to my lovely members Jill and Linda, and thank you to my wonderful subscribers too. Your support helps keep this channel going. Thank you for joining me as I create this piece of tree art today. It's Stormy. There's some really lovely dark colours with a pop of gold and silver. I've got some really basic palette today. So I started off sketching. So I wanted to sketch the outline of a woman, and I wanted to have some real big roots sticking out at the bottom and some branches extending out for arms. And then I just got lost in the moment and just sketched until I got the sort of image that I wanted and the outline as a guide. And I'll show you the colour palette that was really simple, which is silver, tiny bit of black, blue black and gold later on. And you can use any form of that, but I'll show you this one here just as a glimpse. This is my blue black by Pebeo. It's a gorgeous iridescent colour, just giving you an idea of this colour being the star of the show today. Okay, so I got my glue gun once my image was pretty much there, and I go along with my glue gun just as if I'm drawing lines really. And I wanted some really nice roots in there. And as I'm drawing, I'm thinking, well, as I go along, I can always add branches later on. I just wanted the outline, and I wanted the glue gun to act as 3D and to be painting on top of it. And I didn't know at this stage how I was going to do it. So what I'm doing here is taking off the excess glue, because if you've ever used a glue gun, it gets quite wispy at the ends. So I'm taking those off before it dries really quickly. And then I'm going to leave this to dry and come back, and here it is, all dry, and here are the colours. So this is like a gunmetal grey, which is silver with a tiny bit of black, and then this is iridescent silver on top. So I'm using the star of the show today, which is the blue black, and this is the iridescent gold, and these are the four main colours that I'm using for the base today. I really wanted a lot of gold on the left hand side of the painting because I wanted the sun to be coming through. There's a real feeling behind paintings, isn't there, behind what you create. And this one was like a stormy feeling. There's been a lot of storms recently, and also nature tends to have parts of the year where it clears, and it's a very cleansing. It can be very destructive too. It's a very cleansing process. And after the trees have been blown around, the sun often comes through, and there's a feeling of hope. So I really wanted to sort of give that image today. That was the image that was with me. It's very dark and light, we have destruction, times of destruction, and then we have times of healing and production. And it also feels as though it goes with the seasons. It's the end of winter, the leaves have fallen off the trees, but I wanted to add something fantastical to this. So some sort of fantasy coloured leaves, to give it a bit of something, a bit of hope as well, and a bit of colour, and a bit of a pop. Yeah, so I'd love to know what your thoughts are and what feelings are aroused because of this painting, because I think every painting arouses some sort of feeling, and if you can connect it to something, that for me is what it's all about. So I'm using here my paintbrush liner, and I was just filling in with the iridescent blue black. It's a beautiful colour, it's really shiny. It's a bit like she's wearing a ball gown, and then she's got her arms outstretched, welcoming, and also letting go at the same time. And I was reminded about the cycles of nature as I was painting this tree, and how the storm comes along, and you have a stormy season, and then the leaves are then blown off the tree, and they go back to the earth to nourish the tree again for the next season. I'm going to be using my paintbrush for a little while, just enhancing the tree. And as I do so, I'll just leave you with some lovely music and I'll come back as I add some more texture. This was an interesting part of the painting. I had a lot of gold there and I wanted to add a bit of contrast. So you can see I've been adding some iridescent silver and then a bit more of that blue black, which has really come through. It's always hard to see it on camera, but I'll give you a close up at the end and you'll be able to see that iridescence shining through and the contrast of the gold and silver and the blue. And then the horizon that I put in towards the end as well. So this feels as though the sun is right behind the tree and peeping through the branches. I'm adding leaves in 3 different ways. So I'm going to use my paintbrush to make a leaf shape. I'm going to use different colours, a little bit of pink, purple and blue, iridescent blue, and they're all iridescent colours. And I'll come back again shortly as I begin to use my clay. I've got some air dry clay. I'm using it for the first time today, which is really exciting. And I glue it on towards the end and I use my favourite gold. And I'll show you that as I go along as well. Here's my air dry clay. That's so exciting. Unwrapping it and just getting a feel of it. It's so light. This is a super light clay. So I'm just getting a sense of it and I get my scissors, cut some off, and then I just start to play with it. Put it back, of course, because you don't want it to go hard. And if you've used air dry clay, it's just so versatile. It takes quite a while to harden, and I made them into shapes of the leaves, and I got my canvas just there, just to get an idea of how big they could be. I'm shaping them with my fingers. And next, I'm going to leave these leaves to dry and then paint them gold. And I'm not quite sure yet whether I'm going to glue them on first or paint them first, or use gold leaf, but we shall see shortly. That's my last one there. So I decided to do some more leaves, and I had a fair amount, probably about 15 in the end, 15, 20. And I decided to place them around the branches just to see how they'd be. And then I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to sprinkle them and see where they land. It looked a bit more natural. You know, when leaves come off the trees, they're not all spread out. Some of them are actually together. Some of them are quite clustered. So I used my glue, and this is a really lovely glaze glue I got from one of my local craft shops. It's good for all sorts of crafts. So I'm lifting the leaf up and putting a dot underneath and putting it down again. Try not to stick my gloves down. So that's going to add a 3D effect. I decided to stick them on first and then paint the leaves. So this is a good time to add extra branches if you'd like to do so. I'm using here paint with a pointy nib, which gives you lots of accuracy. Can you see the different colours I've done for the leaves? I've got the blue there, a little bit of pink and lighter pink, and they're all iridescents. I think it helps it to pop. So I've got 3 different things now at 3D. I've got the glue gun. You can see I'm using that black just to give it a bit of a shape, and I'm going to use gold on the other side of the tree woman. So yeah, the colours just give it something. And I decided to put a horizon line in, and then I use my bamboo stick, which is my stirrer, to add in shadow. What do you think? I've just started using this technique. I absolutely love it, because I was thinking that the area around the back of the tree looked as though it's like a silvery water. So using that feeling and reflection behind the tree, I thought it added something extra to it. And you can see to the right of the tree, just above the horizon line, I've used some iridescent silver just to dull that down a bit, because I thought it was a bit of a bossy colour. Because when you're blowing out the paint, of course you could use other methods to do it. It will leave patches of different paint in different areas, and you can just go over it with something else. But I did enjoy blowing out with the hairdryer, because it gave it such a beautiful texture and a really lovely effect for the background. So I'm using my wipe now just to go over the reflection, and just carrying on using my stirrer for a while. I'll come back shortly to show you what I did next.
Darling, I can stay right here, close to you, my dear, you, my dear. Oh, I got you, now and forever. As long as we're together, there's nothing we can't do. Oh, I got you, all the good and bad times, staring into your eyes. I know this love is true. Oh, powder blue, powder blue.
You can see I'm using one of my favourite colours. It's golden iridescent fine gold, and I put a nib on it so I can actually sign my paintings with it, but also it was fantastic to just colour in the leaves. This is the brightest gold that I have, and I was going to use gold leaf, but I thought actually I'm going to save that for another project. This gold is my favourite one, so I wanted to use that today. So if you're wondering how to do it, I super glued on a nib, which I use, which I've got a few of them. They're plastic bottles that I keep my pigments in for my alcohol inks. So in my experimenting, I realised that the top or the lid of this particular pigment fit on perfectly to my golden tube paint, and so I super glued it on, and then I tried writing with it, and it was absolutely amazing. So I'll show you this in future videos, but if you've got any questions, please ask me in the comments below. So I'm highlighting here now and just finishing off, and I'm just really pleased with how this turned out, and I'd love to do another one. I think my next one might be an icy snow woman. We shall see, but it's got to have tree in it. I've just got to do branches. I've got to do, so I want to do 4 seasons of the tree woman in some sort of way. If you'd like to see my autumn tree woman, I'll put the link to that one at the end of this video. My next one is the Snow Queen, and then the one after that will be my spring woman. I'll do her at some point in the future. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for listening and watching, and I'd love to know what you're creating at the moment, what you think about the colours. I usually use very vibrant colours, and I thought I'd have a change this time. So here's the result. Can you see the light shining through? What do you think about the horizon? What do you think about the colours? Let me know what you're up to, and thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It's free, and you'll be tuned in for more adventures. Thank you so much for being here, and don't forget that your art is a piece of you. Take care now. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Oh, what if there's no other answers? What if it comes down to us? What if we just took our chances? What if our time doesn't come? Would you throw me a lifeline? Or write your name in the moonlight? Walk side by side through